Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome into another episode of Matt's Sports Talk, and we have a lot to talk about in this video, and we are recapping all of the Crossroads League games for men's and women's basketball from last night, December 3rd, 2025. Hard to believe we're already in the month of December, and pardon me, we're already in the month of December. Christmas is coming up in 22 days, and 2026 is coming up. Here, actually, Christmas is in now 21 days, which is hard to believe since I'm recording this Thursday, December 4th. And, of course, the new year is coming up here before we know it. Brand new year, 2026 is ahead, so hard to believe that's coming. And, of course, there's snow on the ground here in Mount Vernon, Ohio. We had, I think, like 3-4 inches of snow the other day, so it definitely looks a lot like Christmas. That is for sure. So, without further ado, let's dive into all the men's games from last night, and then I'll record a separate video talking about recapping all the games from the women's side from last night. Make sure that you stay tuned for that. And we did have quite a few upsets across both the men's and the women's side once again last night, and everything is just so competitive this year. Each and every conference is super competitive, so really no surprise there. So let's dive into our first men's game from last night. You had receiving votes Spring Arbor visiting Mount Vernon Nazarene, and Mount Vernon Nazarene with the upset win here, 84-82 was the final score. MVNU goes to 8-2 on the year and 2-1 in the conference. Spring Arbor falls to 5-4 on the year, 1-2 in the Crossroads League. And looking at Spring Arbor, you know, they actually nearly came back and won the game. Of course, Mount Vernon was up 3 points at the time and fouled Spring Arbor to avoid them winning the game with a three-pointer, and that definitely ended up being the difference. And really for Spring Arbor, you had really good balanced scoring all the way around. For Spring Arbor, you had Dante Favor leading the way with 17 points, 17 rebounds. Let me adjust my phone screen real quick since the headroom got a little bit messed up and I didn't want my phone to fall over while I was recording the videos. So let's dive in. Yeah, the headroom, trying to get the headroom just right without my phone tipping all the way over. There we go. That's better. So hopefully, again, I'll keep adjusting if necessary. But last night for Spring Arbor, you had Dante Favor, 17 points, 17 rebounds. He was 7 of 10 shooting from the floor, 3 of 5 at the free throw line. He also had 1 assist. You had Shane Reisky, 16 points. He was 4 of 12 shooting, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 5 of 6 at the free throw line. He had 2 rebounds as well. And you had Aiden Zank, 14 points, 5 of 11 shooting, 4 of 10 of that was from beyond the arc. He had 3 rebounds and 3 assists as well. And you also had Travis Grayson, 12 points, 4 of 13 shooting. He was 4 of 6 at the charity stripe, though. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. David Cundiff, 12 points, 3 of 8 shooting. Now, 6 of the 12 points were at the free throw line. He was 6 of 8 from the charity stripe with 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. So really, really good numbers there. And then off the bench, you had Ty Reisky, 6 points, 5 rebounds in just 14 minutes of action, so really good to see that. Brandon Trilly, 5 points, 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 2 of that was from downtown with 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. The Cougars, though, only had 7 turnovers compared to 11 for the Cougars of Mount Vernon, so that kind of tells the story there. And you also had Spring Arbor. They didn't shoot the ball bad from the field at 41%. They did struggle from 3 at 26. They shooting 8 of 30. Really decent at the free throw line. 18 out of 25 attempts for 72% compared to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon shot better from the field at 51. Worse from 3 at 22, converting just 5 out of 22 attempts. But Mount Vernon was slightly better, albeit not by a lot, at the free throw line, converting 13 out of 16 for 81%. And that was your difference there. MVNU had some really balanced scoring. Isaiah Brown, the leading scorer, 25 points for him, 10 of 16 shooting, 5 of 6 at the charity stripe, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 23 points for Trent Koning, 8 of 16 shooting, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 4 of 5 at the charity stripe. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. And you had Peyton Heiss, 11 points, 10 rebounds, so a double-double for him, 5 of 12 shooting, and he did have 2 assists. And then Reed Plattfoot with 6 points and 10 rebounds with 3 assists and 1 block. And Devin Dreyer only had 2 points, so he struggled shooting, but he did have 2 rebounds and 2 assists, though. And then off the bench, you had Beatty Laurie, 2 of 3 shooting with 5 points. Grant Burkholder only had 1 point. That was at the free throw line, though. Burkholder with 1 assist. Laurie with 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 1 block. So really good to see that. And Kieran Granville, 1 of 2 shooting in 10 minutes of action with 1 rebound, 1 assist. And then you also had Abib, 9 points with 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He was 3 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc. A perfect 2 of 2 at the free throw line, though. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Winona Lake, Indiana, where number 1 Grace hosted Receiving Votes Huntington. And this was a close game in the first half. Grace was able to pull away in the second half and get a win here. 78-59 was the final score. And Grace on the year is the only team, actually, that remains undefeated on the season. At least I'm pretty sure they are. Let me double check that. Yeah, Grace is the only undefeated team left in terms of the Crossroads League, the only undefeated team left at 9-0. And looking at the stats for Huntington, they didn't really have much offensive production. Now, their one bright spot was Jackson Paul, 20 points, 8 of 19 shooting, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He was a perfect 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. 9 points for Caden Johnson, 3 of 6 shooting, 3 of 6 also at the free throw line. He had 11 rebounds, 1 assist on the night. 4 points from Miles Good with 3 rebounds, 4 assists. 4 points as well for Keelane Lassisi, 2 of 4 shooting for him, 4 rebounds and 2 steals. 7 points for Matthew Spears. He struggled shooting, just 2 of 8, but he was a perfect 2 of 2 at the charity stripe with 1 rebound. And you also had Jackson Paul had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, if I did not already mention that. And then off the bench, Cade Brenner, 6 points, struggled shooting, just 2 of 9, but he did have 3 assists and 2 rebounds. And then a pair of points for Tayden Metzger in 2 minutes of action. And then 7 points off the bench for Landon Beagle with 2 rebounds. Huntington had 11 turnovers compared to, Grace had 14 turnovers. Huntington had 11, so Grace did have slightly more turnovers. Now, the difference was Huntington shot just 35 from the floor, 23 from beyond the arc, converting just 6 out of 26. Struggled at free throw line, 7 of 11, converting for 63%. Meanwhile, for Grace, they shot way better from the field at 51, better from 3, albeit not a lot, at 35, and way better at the free throw line, converting 8 out of 10 for 80%. And there were a lot of bright spots for the Lancers. 12 points highlighted by Michael Wellman, the leading scorer. 12 points off the bench for him, 4 of 5 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, in just 13 minutes of action, by the way. 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 assist. 10 points off the bench for Cannon Hauser, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from downtown, 1 rebound, 2 assists for him. 9 points for Gavin Betton, 4 of 7 shooting, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 2 points for Luke Bricker in just 12 minutes of action. Bricker with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. So really good balanced numbers there. And then 4 points for Cole Hayworth in just 3 minutes of action. 1 of 2 shooting from the floor, but he was a perfect 2 of 2 at the charity stripe. And he had 1 rebound. And then looking at the stats for the starters for the Lancers, you had Gage Sefton, 10 points, 3 of 7 shooting, 3 of 4 at the charity stripe, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. 10 points for Tyler Rouse, 5 of 9 shooting for him, so really good to see that. He also had 6 rebounds, 1 assist. 8 points for Hunter Walston, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. 11 points for Ian Rouse, 5 of 12 shooting, 8 rebounds for him, and 2 points for Grady Carpenter. He had 13 assists, though, so really good statistic there. He also had 5 rebounds and 1 steal, and that was your matchup there. And the next matchup takes us down to Indianapolis, Indiana, where Marion hosted Goshen. And this was a really close game in the first half. Marion, though, pulling away in the second half, 69-53 here. Marion goes to 2-8 on the year, 2-1 in the conference. Goshen falls to 4-3, 0-3 in conference play. Goshen had a couple of bright spots, and one of those was Tyrell Hunt, 14 points, 6 of 13 shooting, with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 13 points for Marcus Northern off 5 of 13 shooting. He was 3 of 4 from downtown, though, so really good to see that. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals for him. Only 1 point for Kenny May, and that was at the free throw line. 4 rebounds, 1 assist for him. 8 points for Braden Allen. 3 of 4 at the charity stripe, though. Allen with 4 rebounds and 1 steal. And a pair of points for Kevin Cota. 1 of 2 shooting with 4 rebounds. And then off the bench, you had 3 points for Jacob Carlson with 1 rebound, 1 steal. 3 points for Deacon Hill. 1 point for Jaraj Minoroveshik, which was at the free throw line, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name. 5 rebounds, 1 assist for him. And you also had Caleb Thompson, 6 points in just 6 minutes of action, 2 of 3 shooting, and all that was from beyond the arc, I might add. 1 rebound for him, and 2 points for Cameron Williams with 1 rebound, with 1 assist, 1 steal. I stand corrected. Goshen with 11 turnovers, Marion 11 turnovers, so pretty even numbers there. Goshen shot 30 from the field, 36 from 3, 58 at the free throw line, converting just 7 out of 12. Marion way better from the field at 43, way worse from 3 at just 12.5%, converting 2 out of 16. They were better at the free throw line, 9 out of 12 conversion, 9 out of 12 attempts converted for 75%. And Marion had quite a few bright spots. They had 18 points for Aaron Humphrey Jr., 8 of 14 shooting, 1-1 at the free throw line, 17 rebounds, 4 assists for him and 1 block. 14 points for Ron Rutland III, 6 of 17 shooting, 2 of 2 at the charity stripe, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. 14 points for him. 13 points for Dylan Moles, 6 of 13 shooting with 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. 8 points for Joshua Renfro, 3 of which was at the charity stripe, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal for him. And off the bench, 8 points for Luke Carroll, off 4 of 7 shooting with 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And 8 points for Aiden Franks, 2 of 4 at the free throw line with 2 rebounds and 1 steal. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Mishawaka, Indiana, where Taylor faced off against number 11 Bethel, and this was a major upset. Taylor with the upset here, 91-80, defeating number 11 Bethel, handing Bethel their first loss of the season. And for Taylor, this was their first win in Mishawaka since 2012. So 13 years that now they're 13 years since Taylor had beaten Bethel up in Mishawaka. And for Taylor, this is back-to-back ranked top 25 upset wins, I might add. Of course, they upset then number 1 Indiana Wesleyan back on November 22nd at home. And then Taylor now upsetting the number 11 Pilots in Mishawaka. Their first win over the Pilots in 3 years exactly, December 3rd, 2022, was the last time the Trojans had upset the Pilots. And like I mentioned a minute ago, their first win in Mishawaka in 13 years. So really, really amazing to see that. And what a job that head coach Austin Peters and company has done with this Taylor Trojan team. Projected 7th in preseason. And honestly, they could easily be a top 4 or 5 seed if they continue to upset top 25 opponents. And of course, their only conference loss coming to number 1 Grace, and that was by 17 points on opening night back on November 19th. So looking at the stats for Taylor, and Taylor they just shot the lights out of the whole entire gym. Now, the one downside for Taylor, they had 15 turnovers compared to only 10 for the Pilots. But I'll get to the stats in a second. But I will mention that in terms of points, you had Pete Combs, who played outstanding. 26 points, 13 of 16 shooting, 7 rebounds, 2 points for Isaiah Day with 2 rebounds, 1 assist. 17 points for Anthony McGee off 6 of 10 shooting, 3 of 5 from downtown, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Only 2 points for Carson Gold, but that was at the free throw line though. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal for him. 14 points for Nate Paulberg, 4 of 5 shooting, and all of that was from beyond the arc. 2 of 2 at the free throw line with 3 rebounds. And then off the bench, you had Anor Wogar in 8 minutes of action, 4 points, 2 of 2 shooting with 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And then 1 point for Levin Smith, that was at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 10 points for Zahri Harrison off 5 of 7 shooting. So really, really good numbers there. 5 assists, 1 rebound for him. Nathan Baker, 15 points off the bench, 6 of 7 shooting, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block for him. And these are really the eye-catching stats. Taylor shot a blistering 66% from the field, and that is their highest shooting in a game since November of 2014. So really, really amazing to see that. 50% from beyond the arc. Really good at the free throw line. 7 out of 9 attempts for 77%. So really, really amazing numbers there. And that's the highest I've seen any team shoot in a game since Grace College on the men's side upset then number 3 Indiana Wesleyan last season, 93-83. That was a game where the Lancers shot 70%. I believe it was 60% from the field and 70% from downtown. And obviously when a team gets that red hot shooting, there's really nothing you can do about it except, pat them on the back and tell them that they did an excellent job. And that's literally all you can do. And looking up stats for Bethel, Bethel had some really good numbers too from Austin Kripe. 10 of 17 shooting, 5 of 8 from downtown, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 steals, 1 block, 27 points for him. 21 points for Luke McBride, off 7 of 12 shooting, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, 5 of 5 at the free throw line though for him. 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. And Alonis Vasilius, 18 points, 7 of 9 shooting, 1 of 1 from downtown, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And you also had Bo Jacque, 4 points, 2 of that was at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 8 points for Colin Comer with 1 rebound, 1 assist. And then off the bench, you had Mason Bales with 1 steal in just 7 minutes of action, Jameer Jefferson with 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, Carter Kent, 2 assists, and Andrew Hedrick, 1 of 2 shooting with 2 points, 2 assists though for him. And that was your matchup there. And our last matchup takes us to Lucky Arena, Marion, Indiana, where number 6, Indiana Wesleyan face off against the Cougars of St. Francis. And Indiana Wesleyan, no problem here, 105-73 victory over the Cougars. And for the Wildcats, they bounced back after a tough 3-point loss at Taylor back on November 22nd. The Wildcats go to 8-1 on the year, 2-1 in the conference. They remain perfect at home this year at 6-0. And the Wildcats, they shot the ball really well. Looking up stats first for St. Francis. St. Francis, 18 turnovers. The Wildcats, 14, so pretty even in that category. But for St. Francis, you had Jevin Lewis, 20 points, 7 of 18 shooting, 5 of 5 at the charity stripe, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal for him. Only 2 points for Joe Reedy, but he had 3 rebounds, 4 steals though, so really good numbers there. 8 points for Justin McNelkin, 3 of 10 shooting. He did struggle a little bit shooting, but he did have 3 rebounds and 2 steals though. 6 points for Eugene Young Jr., 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. So really good, pretty good balanced numbers there. 5 points for Trey Dillard, 3 of 5 at the free throw line though, 1 steal for him. Off the bench, Keyshawn McNeil, 2 points, off 1 of 4 shooting. You had 20 points off the bench for RJ Moore, so really good numbers there. 7 of 13 shooting, 3 of 6 from downtown, 3 of 4 at the charity stripe, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. And then a pair of points each for Malachi King. King had 1 rebound and 1 assist. Also a pair of points for Braden Messenger with 5 rebounds and 1 steal. 3 points for Jordan Fernie with 1 assist, 1 steal. And Sam Johnson, 3 points and 4 minutes of action. St. Francis, 41 from the field, 28 from beyond the arc, 76 at the free throw line, converting 13 out of 17, so really good numbers there. And meanwhile, for the Wildcats shot the ball better from the field at 52, better from 3 at 44, way better from 3 at 44, and better at the free throw line, 12 of 14, converting those numbers for 85%. And how about freshman Julius Gizzi? 26 points for Julius, 10 of 17 shooting, 6 of 12 from downtown, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for him, 14 points for Crew Gibson, 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4 from downtown, 2 of 4 at the charity stripe, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. And Cademan Bontrager, 19 points on the night for him, 6 of 12 shooting, 1 of 2 from downtown, 6 of 6 at the charity stripe, so really good numbers there. 11 rebounds for him with 2 steals. And Bontrager, another double-double this year, pretty common to see that. And you got Millen McCartney with 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Off the bench, Matthew Brown, 2 points. That was all at the free throw line, though, for him. You also had Isaac Andrews, 15 points off the bench, 6 of 12 shooting, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. 1 rebound and 2 assists for him. A pair of points for Cliff Gashumba, 1 of 1 shooting in just 4 minutes of action. He did have 2 steals, though, so really good to see that out of him. Jake Smith, 8 points in 21 minutes of action, 4 of 7 shooting, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. 7 points for Kevin Sakis, 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from downtown, perfect 2 of 2 at the charity stripe, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block for him. And that was your matchup there. And that concludes all the matchups, recapping all the matchups for last night. And looking ahead, previewing matchups for Saturday, you have number 6 Indiana Wesleyan at receiving votes Huntington. Goshen will be at Taylor. Number 11 Bethel will be at St. Francis. Marion will be at Mount Vernon Nazarene. And this should be a really good game. Well, actually, Iowa Huntington should be really good, but this is another really good game. Number 1 Grace at receiving votes Spring Arbor. And for Grace, they lost last year up at Spring Arbor in the first matchup of the season. So that game on Saturday, that should really, really be interesting. That is for sure in terms of that. So those are all of the games on Saturday, at least previewing those. And when I'm going to record a separate video here momentarily recapping all the women's games from last night. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. If you did enjoy this video, or if it was super helpful to you, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. I appreciate any feedback that you provide me. So again, thanks so much for tuning in this video. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.